हाय एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल। मेरे चैनल में आपका स्वागत है। और आज हम ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल बिहेवियर सब्जेक्ट के सेम फर्स्ट के जो एफ सैम्पल एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चन है उनके ऊपर डिस्कस करेंगे। सो ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल बिहेवियर अगेन ये आपका थोड़ा थ्योरेटिकल का सब्जेक्ट है। स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चंस रहते हैं, राइट। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। एग्जाम पैटर्न हम ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, जिसमें आपके 50 मार्क्स के आपके एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस रहते हैं, 20 मार्क्स के आपके डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चंस रहते हैं। सो ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन हाफ ऑफ द वेटेज में टोटल आपके 100 मार्क्स में से 50 मार्क्स आपके एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस रहते हैं। सो इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट कि अगर एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस में आप अच्छा स्कोर करते हैं, सो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आपका ओवरऑल रिजल्ट जो है, जो आप मार्क्स है एग्जाम्स है, वो आप इजीली क्लियर कर पाएंगे। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल बिहेवियर एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस. So first one is dash is the process of screening out the information that we are uncomfortable with or that contradict to our beliefs. It's the perceptual context, selective perception, halo effect, or the stereotyping. So it's the selective perception. External flexibility, it is the ability of an individual to exert and expand force, to bend trunk and back muscles, perform flexible movement, or to exert the force against the external object. So it's to bend the trunk and the back muscles. A study of the human behavior in organizational settings is it's an individual behavior, group behavior, or the organizational behavior, or the none of the above. So it's the OB, organization behavior. Which one is not a source of power? It's reward power, cohesive power, legitimate power, or the influence power. So it's influence power. Because it is impossible for us to eliminate everything we see, we engage in selective perception, memorization, mental desensitization, or it's the periodic listening. So it's selective perception, which source involves in various techniques such as training, change in the human behavior or attitude to deal with the conflict in a better manner. It's a compromise or increased resources, avoidance, or altering the human behavior. So it's all about the altering the human behavior. Dash is the individual's ability to influence the behavior of another individual as a consequence of being respected, admired, or liked by others. It's a reward power, referent power, legitimate power, or the expert power. So it's the referent power. Which one is not an individual or an intragroup tactics? It's assertiveness, friendliness, rationality, or substitutability. So it's substitutability. Individuals use certain strategies to gain the power and manipulate the basis of power for specific actions such as influencing the behavior of individual. Gaining a particular advantage is known as power tactics, power strategies, power goals, or the power attainment. So certain tactics comes into the picture. So it's power tactics. Which one is not an individual and intergroup tactics? It's integrative importance, bargaining, coalition, or the higher authority. So it's integrative importance. Which one is not an intergroup tactics? It's uncertainty adoption, substitutability, sanctions, integrative importance. So sanctions. Which one of the following ability of an individual to exert the power or force against the external object? It's the explosive power, trunk power, or the static power, or none of the above. So it's static power. Which approach is an indirect approach of resolving conflicts in the approach the case of the conflict is avoided? Compromise, increasing resources, or avoidance, or the problem solving. So it's simply you're avoiding that situation. Which is the relationship between what one perceives and objective reality? They are the same. They can be subsequently different. They should be same. They cannot be same. So they can be subsequently different. Dash is our perception of our personality trait influences how we can view a person entire personality. It's the perception, halo effect, stereotyping, or the individual personality. So it's halo effect. Which of the following is not a problem in the teamwork? The communication gap, unrealistic goals and expectation, team members sitting in different locations, or goal conflict. So, team people or the team members who are sitting at a different location, that's not a problem of the teamwork. When F. Scott Fitzgerald said, "The very rich are different from you and me," and Hemingway replied, "Yes, they have more money," Hemingway refused to engage in what shortcut to judge others. It's the projection, halo effect, stereotyping, or the prototyping. So it's stereotyping. Which one generally the communication among the group takes a lot of time? It's the free flow model, circular model, wheel model, or the chain model. So it's the circular model. Which one is the name of the theory that deals with how we explain the behavior differently depending on the meaning we assign to an actor? It's the behavioral theory, judgment theory, selective perception theory, or the attribution theory. So it's attribution theory. Which one of the following factor decreases the trust in the employee on organization? It's downsizing, restructuring, re-engineering techniques, and all the above. So all of these are the factors. What is ability? Number, aptitude, compatibility, capacity of a person to perform a job, perceptual speed, or the physical ability. So it's capability of a person to perform a job. Which one of the factors affecting the individual behavior? Personal factors, environmental factors, political factors. So it's both A and C. Confusion between the perceived role and the actual role of any member of the group is due to conflict, expectations, ambiguity, or the trust. So it's ambiguity, which is not one of the steps in the rational decision making model. It's defining the problem, identifying the decision criteria, computing the decision alternatives, or selecting the best alternative. So, computing the decision alternatives is not the step of the rational decision making model. A group where intimate interaction, information communication, cooperation among members took place. It's a primary group, secondary group, friendship group, or the reference group. So the key group, which is the primary group. What are the different types of biological attributes? Marital status, action, work, behavior. So marital status. The three levels of organizational behavior are organizational, individual, group level, society, organization, nation, employee management, individual, organization, and study. So it's there are three levels: individual, then group, and then organization. Which approach is a direct approach of resolving the conflict in which source of the conflict is removed? It's a compromise, it's the increasing resources, avoidance, or the problem solving. So it's problem solving. Putting the people into a convenient group on basis of some of the characteristics and making the assumptions to perceive is known as stereotyping, perception, perceiving, or the group perception. So it's stereotyping. Reorganization, readjustment, employee training to enhance the compatibility among the employees, help managers to overcome which of these issues? It's employee selection, retention, employee trust, the organization, diversity at workplace, or quality and flexibility at work. So it's diversity at workplace. I think the answer is hidden a little bit. So it's the answer is option C, diversity. This dash is an example of creating effective end teams. Mutual trust, appropriate leader, unified commitment, or all the above. So all of these are the part of effective teams. Which conflict occurs when an individual has to choose between equally attractive alternatives? Approach, avoidance, or none of the above. So it's approach. Features of organization are people structure, sociology, economics, psychology, social psychology, industry psychology, semantics, culture, anthropology, political science, economics, physiology, or people structure, technology, environment. So it's people structure, technology, and environment. Which of the following is the relevant application of perception concepts to OB? The perceptions people form about each other, the perceptions people form about their employer, the perception people form about their culture, the perception people form about their society. So it's basically the concept is the perception people form about each other. Which conflict occurs when an individual argues with himself or herself about an issue. It's an intergroup, interpersonal, intrapersonal, or none of the above. Right. So it's about himself, so it's about intra-individual. The stage where the power struggle can occur, wherein the members decide the informal leader of the group is also known as dash stage, forming, norming, or confrontation. So it's confrontation. Which of the following ability does an architect requires most? Static, numbers, spatial visualization, or the balance? So architect requires spatial visualization. Internal environment of organization not include which of the following? It's employee, customers, management, or the corporate culture. So customers are basically the external environment that are not a part of internal environment. OB is the study of dash in the organization. Human behavior, employer, employees. So it's all about organizational behavior, or you can say the human behavior. What is body coordination? Stamina, balance, flexibility, ability to coordinate the simultaneous movement. So it's all about how the human ability to coordinate among the simultaneous movements. Cognitive, behavioral, and environmental influences are included in the dash learning theory. It's the cognitive, social, operant, and instrumental, or the classical. So all are these part of the social learning theory. The balance theory was proposed by Theodore M. Newcomb, John W. Thabert, Harold H. Kelly, or Stephen P. Robin. So it was given by Theodore M. Newcomb. Yep. A dash system executes the complete reward process in an effective manner. It's administering recognition, reward, benefit. So it's about reward system. Dash is the process of screening out the information that we are uncomfortable with or that contradicts to our beliefs. It's perceptual context, selective perception, halo effect, or stereotyping. So it's selective perception. The value of an individual are built on the basis of family background, cultural ethics, or ethical standards, past experiences, or all the above. So all of the above forms a part. Two people see the same thing at the same time yet interpret it differently. Where do the factors that operate the shape their dissimilar perceptions reside? It's the perceivers, target, timing, or the context. So it's perceivers. Frame and element of organization includes framework of organization, technological advancement, employees of organization, or internal and external environment. So it's all about the employees of organization. The most consistent behavior, the more the observer is inclined to attribute it to interpretation, attribute it to internal causes, attribute it to consequences, consensus, attribute it to external causes. So it's all about attributed to internal causes. Which of the following are the terminal values? True friendship, ambition, wisdom, or ANC. So true friendship and wisdom. So it's ANC. What do we call when we judge someone on the basis of our perception of the group to which he or she belongs? So it's grouping, stereotyping, categorizing, or assimilating. So it's stereotyping effect. Involuntary and the uncontrolled reactions of an individual are known as stimulus, actions, reflex, or the response. So it's reflex. Approaches of OB include which of the following? It's the classical, neoclassical, modern, or all the above. So all of these above. The majority of work take place in unstructured, structured, semi-structured, or none of the above. So in structured one, a majority of the work took place. Which of the following approaches to organization behavior views the organization as a system of consciously coordinated activities of various individuals in an organization? It's a system approach or the contingency approach, classical approach or neoclassical approach. So it's the system approach, a process wherein an individual tends to compromise on his or her idea and agrees to the idea of the group. So it's the group dynamics, group think, or the group cohesiveness. So it's group think. Yeah. Dash increases the frequency of a particular behavior in a person due to addition of a particular stimulus. So it's either punishment, extension, or the positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement. So it's about the positive reinforcement. What is the process by which an individual organize and interpret their sensory impressions in order to give meaning to the environment? Interpretation, environmental analysis, outlook, or the perception. So it's all about perception. A person requires instrumental values such as ambition, intellect, capability, or all of the above. So all of the above forms a part of this. Learning is an alternative permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of outcome, nature, self-realization, or an experience. So it's based on experience. Which of the following theory defines a process through which individuals learn voluntary behavior? Social learning or the cognitive learning, operant or instrumental or classical conditioning. So it's operant and instrumental conditioning theory. Classical approach includes scientific, bureaucratic, administrative, or all the above. So it's all the above. Dash increases the frequency of a particular behavior in person due to removal of a particular stimulus. Punishment, extension, positive reinforcement, or a negative reinforcement. So it's negative reinforcement. Which of the below is not a theory of learning? Social learning, cognitive learning, organizational, or the classical conditional? So it's organizational. Manager and his or her substitute who belongs to the same area, such as finance department or the marketing demand department. So it's self-managed. It's a functional or the cross-functional or the problem solving. So it's the functional one. Instrumental values are it's a self-control, happiness, salvation, or the self-respect. So it's the self-control. Social stress is due to its environment, economics, family, or universal. So social stress is based on the environmental factors. Which organization theory can be understood by if and then relationship? It's a scientific one, bureaucratic, system, or contingency. So contingency approach. Dash is one's view of reality, attitude, perception, outlook, or personality. So perception. Dash is the complete absence of reinforcement, either positive or negative, for lowering the probability of occurrence of undesirable behavior. Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, or extinction. So it's extinction. What do we call if we judge someone on the basis of perception? Stereotyping, categorizing, halo effect, or prototyping. So it's stereotyping. The change in the individual behavior should be as a result of an experience or practice are not due to environmental changes, biological maturation, psychological behavior, or none of the above. So it comes under the part of biological maturation. Stress is anatomical stimulus, social stimulus, psychological stimulus, or none of the above. So it all falls under the psychological stimulus. Dash represent the first stage of information processing by human brain. Sensory memory, pattern recognition, short-term memory, or encoding. So it's sensory memory. Which of the following is the basis for the value of an individual? Genetics, biological factors, past experience, or the perceptual standards? So it's the past experience. The harmonious passive groups are born to become stagnant and non-responsive towards the need for change and innovation, in which can be the major hindrance in the progress of an organization, by whom this definition is given by is Pondy, Chung and Magison, Stephen B. Robin, or none of the above. So it's Stephen B. Robin. I think the answer is hidden, but it's Stephen P. Robin. Dash depicts the positive influence of remembering a positive event leading to a desirable outcome. It's attention, retention, reproduction, or motivation. So, motivation is the influencing power. Okay. Who proposed the bureaucratic structure is suitable for all organizations? It's Alton Mayo, Henry Foyle, F.W. Taylor, or the Max Weber. So, it's Max Weber. Neoclassical approach includes which of the following? It's scientific management, HR approach, system approach, or the administrative approach. So HR, human resource approach. The model which facilitates faster communication is known as inverted model, inverted V model, circular model, free flow model, or the V model. So it's the free flow model. Hackathon experiment, which is the real beginning of the applied research in OB, was conducted by Alton Mayo, Henry Foyle, F.W. Taylor, or A. Maslow. So it's Alton Mayo. Which of the following element accounts for the attractive affective component in an individual aptitude? So it's the past experience, emotional thoughts, memories, or none of the above. So emotional thoughts. Dash involves remembering the subject and object in which an individual pays attention. It's attention, retention, reproduction, or motivation. So it's retention. What is the process by which individuals organize and interpret their sensory impressions in order to give the meaning to the environment? Interpretation, environmental analysis, outlook, or the perception? So it's perception. Process or administrative theory of an organization is given by Alton Mayo, Henry Foyle, F. W. Taylor, or A. Maslow. So it was given by Alton Mayo. Which of the following can job satisfaction lead to at a workplace? Improved brainstorming, better decision making, improved problem solving, or all of the above? So all of the above. Dash is the ability of an individual to select and process a certain part of the information in the sensory memory and ignore the irrelevant information. It's a long-term memory, pattern recognition, selection attention, or encoding. So selection and attention. Which quadrant includes the information that we are not aware ourselves but also know about us? For example, feelings of inadequacy, incompetence, unworthiness, or rejection. So it's a hidden area or the blind area, open area or the unknown area. So it's about blind area. I think answer is missed. Answer is also blind. So it's a blind area. Which of these approaches argue that there is no single best way to manage the behavior? Hawthorne, the scientific management, system approach, or the contingency? So, contingency approach. Scientific management approach is developed by Alton Mayo, Henry Foyle, F.W. Taylor, or the A. Maslow. So, it's F.W. Taylor. Dash is the process of relating the new information from the short-term memory with the information already existing in the long-term memory to make the information more memorable. So it's encoding, sensory attention, selective attention, or pattern recognition. Encoding is the answer. Room theory does not focus on the following relationship: valence, expectancy, instrumentability, or it's the task complexity. So task complexity was not focused by the room theory. Which conflict occur between two or more groups? It's an intergroup, interpersonal, intrapersonal, or none of the above. It's intergroup conflict. Which of the following problems are faced in the teamwork? It's communication, change, ideas, or both A and B. So communication and change, so it's both A and B. The term motivation is derived from Latin word meaning to move. It's magna, antiqua, motus, or movere. So it's movere. A dash system provides a mixed element of monetary and non-monetary benefit to match the requirements of an individual employees, administrating reward, financial or benefits. So it's a reward system. Dash reduces the initiative taking and ability for flexibility in employees. Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, motivation, or the punishment. So it's punishment. Which of the following leads to a human revolution movement in the evolution of OB? It's scientific management, bureaucratic management, administrative management, or hackathon experiments. So it's hackathon experiments. Which of the following sub-processes involve attaching a certain meaning of the registered stimulus? Stimulus, registration, interpretation, or reaction. So interpreting the things, interpretation. Which of the following is not an influence on the behavior of work organization? Individual, building, group, or the environment. So it's building. Dash retains the information for a relatively longer period of time. It's a sensory memory, pattern recognition, long-term memory, or the short-term memory. So it's a long-term memory. Which one is not an individual factors contributing to organizational politics? It's limited resources, performance pressure, risk-seeking tendency, or uncertainty in decision making. So it's risk-seeking tendency. Okay. So these are the set of the sample MCQ questions for organization behavior. And if you have any doubts or facing any issue or challenges related to the exams, then feel free to just drop me a mail to ngasc.mba@gmail.com, or you can just ping me. So if you like this channel, if you like this video, do like and comment and stay connected for further videos. Thank you so much.